Still hiking up Clendenin Mountain, and I came across a place here where there are some laurel bushes and also some rhododendrons in the same area. And generally what happens is you'll come through a patch of laurel and there'll be pretty much all laurel there, or you'll come through a patch of rhododendrons and there'll be pretty much all rhododendrons there. Right in this particular area, I just came through a big area there where there's lots of laurel. If you look up in there though, up on the side of the hill up above this, a lot of rhododendrons. So right in this area right here is a transition point where you go from laurel, mountain laurel, to rhododendron. And over there's a big rhododendron bush or tree. Mountain laurel and rhododendrons, they keep green leaves all winter long. And the way you tell the difference between mountain laurel and rhododendron is that the leaves of rhododendron are much, much bigger than the leaves of laurel. In that little picture there, you see on the left, you see some rhododendron leaves, and then on the right there, you'll see the laurel leaves. Now, the seed pods of the laurel look like this. And a lot of times, you coming through the mountains in the summertime or in the late fall, you'll see some seed pods like that. And those are laurel seed pods, mountain laurel seed pods. So anyway, I'm going to walk on over here, and I'm going to take this sprig of laurel, and I'll put it in amongst this rhododendron over here, and you'll definitely be able to see the difference between the mountain laurel and the rhododendron. The rhododendron, there we go. There's a laurel sprig mixed in amongst those rhododendrons. And you can see the leaves there, how much smaller they are on the laurel than they are on the rhododendron. Like I say, they both, mountain laurel and rhododendron, they both keep their leaves during the wintertime. That enables them to survive because all the hardwood trees up above lose their leaves during the wintertime. And that's when the laurel and the rhododendrons can suck up a lot of sunlight, and it enables them to survive. During the summertime, they're shaded by these hardwood trees. Now, mountain laurel and rhododendron, they will both grow in full sun. As a matter of fact, they'll bush out a lot more and get look a lot more healthy. They will grow in full sun, but they will also grow under the forest canopy. And one beautiful thing about laurel and rhododendrons is they have beautiful, beautiful blooms on them, and they bloom during May, June. Some of them will even bloom as late as July. It depends on how much shade they're getting in under the forest canopy, and also what side of the mountain they're on, and whether or not they're down inside of a deep valley. If they're down inside of a deep valley, they may not bloom until sometime in July. But if they're getting a lot of good sunlight and they're in the right position in the forest, then they can bloom, I would say mid-May, maybe even a little before that. Also, it depends on the part of the United States you're in. Further north you go, they're going to bloom later. Further south you go, they'll bloom earlier. So it depends on that also. So they'll bloom anywhere from May to mid-late July, depending on what latitude you are above the, I believe it's latitude, above the equator, how far above the equator you are. Latitude, longitude. Yeah, I believe latitude is one that goes from north to south. And longitude is one that goes from east to west. I'm not really sure about that though, so don't quote me. But anyway, what you're seeing here is you're seeing a huge, huge stand of rhododendrons. And when they bloom during June, May, June, you can walk through these things. I mean, it's just, you're walking through just blossoms. And there are places where you walk through mile after mile after mile of these things. Just beautiful blossoms. And the same is true with mountain laurel. Now, there's a plant that grows out in here. You don't see them very much, but I mean, it's really, really beautiful. It's very similar to mountain laurel and rhododendron, and it is it's really got orange blossoms, and it grows about as tall as laurels or rhododendrons, and it's also it keeps its leaves during the wintertime. I forget the name of it right offhand, but if you're walking out through the woods during the May, June time frame, you'll see it'll look like a ball of fire. And you don't see many of them, but boy, they are beautiful when you run into them. So anyway, that's the little video here on Mountain Laurel. You can see here we're coming up to a place here where we're pretty much completely surrounded by rhododendrons. And I'll tell you one thing, you can get in these rhododendron thickets coming down off some of these mountains, especially if you come down a mountain in like a creek, a little valley coming down off the mountain. You don't have too much problem if you come down off the mountain on top of a ridge, but if you come down off top of a mountain in like a little valley, like especially if it's got a little creek in there or something, you can get into some of these laurel and rhododendron thickets, especially in this area of rhododendron. And I mean, you have to crawl your way through there to get out. There's an example right there of what some of these thickets look like. I mean, it's very, very difficult. Some of them you get in there and I mean, you really, really have to struggle to get out of them thickets. And the deeper you get in, I mean, you can stay inside of them things for hours and hours before you get out. And it can be really, really a trying situation, especially if you got a backpack on and some hiking sticks or something. Getting inside of those rhododendron thickets and laurel thickets is not something you want to do. Now the deer, and I would imagine also feral hogs, they probably love these laurels, and probably the bear too, because if something gets after them, they can get inside of these thickets and hide, these laurel thickets. So it provides a really, really super good cover for the wildlife. Anyway, I'm going to shut off this video right now, and this has been about mountain laurel and rhododendron. I'm on the Appalachian Trail here. I'm still hiking up Clendenin Mountain. I did a little video earlier on hiking up Clendenin Mountain. So this is another little video on that. And you can see the blaze on the tree there, indicating that this is indeed, we are on the Appalachian Trail. This little blaze has been on this tree for quite a while. Those blazes are supposed to be 2 inches by 6 inches. That one's about 6 inches by, looks maybe like 2.5 inches or so. So it's been on that tree a while. What happens, the trees grow and the blaze kind of widens up as the tree grows. Up there in the distance, if you look on the trail on the left-hand side, you'll see another Appalachian Trail white blaze. So thanks a lot. Hope you folks have enjoyed the video, and I'm going to go ahead and get on up the mountain here. And if you like my videos, please subscribe. I'll be posting a lot more on YouTube here. I got like 130 some videos right now on YouTube, but probably before I get done with this thing, I should have 1,000 or more. Anyway, thanks a lot. You folks have a nice day.